possible to lose belly fat without exercise? The answer is hell yeah. Now, today I'm going to share with you the foods that you should eat when it comes to burning belly fat and the foods that you must avoid if losing fat and losing especially belly fat is of concern. The third thing I'll do is I'm going to show you exactly why these foods make sense, because when you understand the why, then doing becomes easier. Now, last week I talked about, by the way, if you did not catch it, last week I had how to lose belly fat without exercise part 1. If you didn't catch it, I'm going to share the link below, so make sure you look out for it. Now, in part 1, I talked to you about the 2 types of fat that make up belly fat. I also talked to you about the 3 conditions that are mandatory or required in order for belly fat storage to happen. I busted the hugest myth and misconception out there that in order to lose belly fat, you need to be doing crunches, you need to be doing sit-ups, you need to be doing all these fancy ab workouts. I got to show you or tell you that this does not work. Now, I'm Jane Mukami, just in case you're new to my channel, Weight Loss Made Easy. I'm a nutrition-based weight loss expert that helps women lose weight while eating carbs without having to exercise. Now, the reason I focus and insist on without having to exercise, it doesn't mean that I do not work with people who exercise, but what I mean is, if you do not have to work out, you can make it, you can be consistent, you've never started working out, no problem. We can lose weight without feeling like we're a slave to running or working out, because it really comes down to nutrition. Now, you've probably heard one of these 3, that abs are made in the kitchen, or 80% of fat loss or weight loss is nutrition, 20% is exercise, and actually it's not accurate. 10% is exercise, and I'm going to be showing you why in today's video. The other thing you might have heard of is, if you need to lose weight, you must eat less energy than your body requires. In other words, you've heard the fancy term caloric deficit being thrown around in this weight loss field, right? Now, the problem with all these words is you might hear them and they make sense. Logically, when you hear me saying these things, you're like, yeah, okay, I get it. However, you're probably wondering, can somebody just tell me what the hell I need to eat to lose the weight, right? So today's session, I'm going to be taking a deep dive into this, because learning how to eat, mastering your nutrition is the only way, ladies and gentlemen, that you will achieve food freedom, where you will no longer be scared of eating, because most people are so scared of food that, you know, dieting has become part of our culture, and dieting culture is a lifestyle for most people, because we don't know what to do where nutrition is concerned. So to begin demystifying or breaking down this very complex topic, I'm going to start by talking to you about the 4 ways that your body burns fat. I really want to convince you and show you what science has proven, what science has shown and proven why nutrition is the best way or the most effective way to blast belly fat and fat in general. Now, to do this, I have an illustration here. I hope it's clear, but I'm gonna talk through it. I wanna introduce you to Mr. M. Last week in part 1, I introduced you to Insulin Ian. Today, I'm introducing you to Mr. M. Mr. M is your metabolism. In order for you to understand the role of food and how your body is working, what's going on with food and exercise, you need to understand your metabolism. So I'm going to walk you through the 4 ways that your body burns fat before we jump into the foods you should be eating. Now, on this piece of paper, I have a mini scale that runs from 0% to 100%. Now from 0 to 70%, you see the words BMR. Your BMR is your basal metabolic rate, also known as your resting metabolic rate. This is the energy that you burn when you're doing absolutely nothing. This is the energy that I like to call the energy that keeps the lights on in your house. This is the basic utility. You're breathing, you're sleeping, you're not dying because your lungs and your heart, everything is working when you're doing nothing. When you are doing nothing, you are burning calories, you are burning fat, but you might not know this. Now notice that this accounts for 70% of your metabolism. So this is the first way that you burn fat. Just by being alive, your BMR burns fat because there's energy that's used to keep your heart beating, your lungs working to keep you alive. Now the second one, right above the BMR, is from 70% to 80% is NEAT. N-E-A-T, like tidy, neat. Your house is tidy, your house is neat. It's N-E-A-T, which means non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So we've talked about the BMR, which is when you wake up on a Sunday and do nothing, literally Netflix and chill all day, you move, you actually become a couch potato, right? There's calories being burned because you're alive. Now, NEAT is anything that you do that is not exercise, that is not resting. This is just moving around. So I want you to think about taking the stairs at work, doing housework, taking a shower, brushing your teeth. It's all the other things that you do that require movement. Anytime you move your arm to do something, guess what? Your arm muscles are engaged, you're burning calories from that activity. Any type of fidgeting is NEAT. Anything that you do that's not considered exercise falls under the NEAT category. Now, if you decide that, you know what, today's a beautiful day, I'm going to walk to the store, which I do in the summer and the fall, instead of driving to the store. I just put in 3,000 steps to go to the store, which is not exercise. I'm just moving more. That is NEAT. Now notice, NEAT is only 10% of Mr. M. So 70% is your BMR. 10% is NEAT. I call this fidget energy where you're just doing nothing, right? And then right above the NEAT is the TEF. It's also 10%. So from 80 to 90, there's another way we burn energy known as the thermic effect of food. Now, what this simply means is, you remember last week I talked about when you eat food, your body does not speak the food language. It doesn't know that you just ate a piece of potato or you just had some fish. It breaks everything down to glucose, fatty acids, amino acids, or fiber. Now, when you eat this food, there's actually energy that's expended to break it down into this. Apologies, I did not realize my phone was not off. So there's energy that's used, there are calories burned to digest this food. And all foods are not equal. There are foods that require more energy to break down than others. Protein is the macronutrient that requires the most energy to break down into amino acids. So if you eat a lot of protein, guess what? You're using more energy, burning more calories than somebody who eats a lot of carbs. Can you see how that works? And maybe if you've ever heard people saying that you need protein to build muscle, yes, you need protein to build muscle because muscle is made out of amino acids. However, the TEF is also higher. Now, the very last stop of this Mr. M is EAT. Eat, exercise, activity, thermogenesis. Out of all these 4 ways that your body burns fat, This is the most misunderstood because this is exercise, right? Now, as I said at the beginning of the video, they say 80% of fat loss and weight loss is nutrition, 20% is exercise. Yeah, but really, exercise is 10%. Now, the reason it's 10% is because there's also NEAT. There are people who fidget a lot that do not work out. The fidgeting, the walking to the store, it's not, I'm going to exercise. That's just more movement. But saying that I'm going to go, I'm going to go jogging or swimming, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to go work out, that percent is 10%. And a lot of people think that exercise burns a lot of calories and burns, all you need to do is exercise and the heavens will open and you're going to wake up the next day with a flat belly. But no, exercise accounts for a very small percentage of the actual fat burning that's happening under Mr. M. Mr. M being your metabolism. Now your BMR, your NEAT, your TEF, and your EAT are all part of your total daily energy expenditure. So let me give you an example to drive this point home. So let's say that maybe Jane Mukami, my BMR is 1200 calories. I'm burning 1200 calories when I do nothing. If I wake up and just live and do nothing today, I'm gonna sit on the couch and binge watch 2 seasons of something, right? My BMR is 1200. And then I might take a walk for 20 minutes because I feel like it. I might burn maybe 80 calories. And then I'm going to eat some food at some point during today. And maybe that's going to burn another 80 calories or say 100. And then today I'm not working out, but on the days that I do work out, I work out 5 or 6 days a week. I usually burn between 250 and 350 calories. So when we add BMR plus NEAT plus TEF plus EAT, we come up with one big number. So let's just assume for the sake of illustration that my number is 1500. Now, for those of you who are familiar with macros, or if it fits your macros, this 1500 is what your TDEE is. So when people say you need to be in a caloric deficit, they're saying that you need to eat calories that are lower than your TDEE. We just found out that your exercise part, the eat, is 10%. Your BMR is 70%. So if you're killing yourself at the gym, working out 2 hours a day, running, coming home and doing YouTube videos, doing Zumba, doing the most, as I did when I began my weight loss journey in 2008, 2009, I only focused on eat. I was running marathons, doing kickboxing, doing boot camp. I was working out hard and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Why am I not losing weight? But now you can see that eat is a small part of your entire metabolism, and that your BMR is the biggest number. So yes, working out is great for health. And when people say to me, you know what, Jane, I'm trying to work out, or I do work out, but I'm trying to lose weight, the first thing I might think to myself is what I think about myself back then is, working out is cute, but it will not get you where you're trying to go, right? You need to really focus on nutrition. So when we're talking about belly fat, can we now put the millions and trillion of crunches and exercises to the side? Because it doesn't matter. What matters is the TDEE. So as I was saying before, people who are familiar with macros, and if it fits your macros, they do the calculations for you to figure out what your overall consumption for the day is. And then you have to track those numbers, right? That's what those weight loss methods focus. They focus on this very big number. By the way, if you go to Google, you're going to find a lot of calculators that help you calculate these numbers. To me, that's a lot of work. I do not track macros. My clients who lose 100 pounds, 80 pounds, 40 pounds, 40 kilos, 50 kilos, we don't track macros. It's a lot of work, especially for African food. I am African. You cannot track macros for African food without driving yourself insane. So anyway, yeah, so you can do this math, but to me, when it comes to applying, it's not easy. And if you can't apply something consistently, you will not lose belly fat. If you're curious, by the way, on my main website, I am janemokami.com. If you go to my main website, you're going to find a quiz you can take. It's a free quiz that will give you these numbers as well. The quiz will tell you the number of calories you need to eat per day. It's a good way to know where to start, but it gets clunky when it comes to trying to use it. So just a warning for people who are not familiar, don't even do it. For people who are familiar with macros, you can attempt it. So now that you understand why your metabolism and understanding how your body works, this should help you understand that nutrition is at the core of burning this. Burning fat. Let me introduce you to another guy. I have a thing for guys, can you tell? I'm gonna introduce you to Alex, the accountant. Now, Alex, the accountant, he is the guy that counts and keeps track of everything that goes in your mouth. Anytime you open your mouth, you sip this, you eat this cookie from your daughter's plate that you forgot, you finish up your daughter's food and you forgot about that. Anytime you open your mouth and you eat food, now remember, all food is energy, right? Our bodies run off the food we eat, right? And this energy has values attached to it. I know this is not a macro lesson, but just so you know, carbohydrates and protein have 4 calories per gram. Fats has the highest, is 9 calories per gram. So anytime you're eating, Alex, the accountant, is busy doing the math. He's crunching, he's saying, oh, she ate this at this time. He's adding everything up. And at the end of the day, Alex, the accountant, is closing down your books and he's saying, oh, today she's in a surplus. She has a positive, or you're in a deficit. So if this was a business, would say today you made a profit or you made a loss. If it's a bank statement, we'd say we made a deposit, the bank is looking lovely, or we're broke. Now, when it comes to weight loss, you want to be broke. You want to be running at a loss, because when Alex, the accountant, has a surplus, guess what? That surplus has to go into storage. In last week's video, part 1, I talked to you about how insulin Ian does the work of figuring out where to put the extra energy from your bloodstream, right? So Alex, the accountant, is pretty much saying, okay, today she is at a positive 300. So we need to put this positive 300 somewhere on her body. She's in a surplus. Now, the people who need to be in a surplus are the people we hate. The people who are always asking, oh, I wanna gain 10 pounds. And you wanna stone them, right? I'm like, I'm gonna throw this stapler at you, right? Don't you dare say that around me, right? But for us who are always trying to lose weight, we must be in a deficit. We must eat less energy than we need. When I gave you the example of myself and I was throwing together numbers, the numbers, for example, were 1,500. So if I want to lose weight, I need to eat 1,200 or 1,300. I need to eat less than my TDEE in a day. If I eat 1,600, which is 100 more today I'm in a surplus, I'm gaining weight. It's that simple. And again, this is science. I don't know if you're anything like me. I geek out on data. Give me facts, give me tangible information, because with good information, you make good decisions or informed decisions. So as soon as you start understanding the science behind why, then you'll start looking at food in a very different way. Now, another fact you need to know is that in order to lose 1 pound in 7 days or in 1 week, you need to be in a deficit of 3,500 calories. If you want to lose 1 kilo in a week, you need to be in a deficit, in a negative of 7,000 calories a week. How many marathons do you need to run to burn 7,000 calories or 3,500 a day? I remember back in the day when I used to run half marathons and I used to train, I used to run maybe 5 days a week. I used to burn about 300, maybe on a long run, maybe 10 miles, I might burn 400 calories. So if I'm running and burning 400 calories running a 10K, some days I'd run 15 mile, I'd run longer. 400 calories times 5 is only 2,000 deficit in a week. No wonder I was not losing weight. And not to mention, after the running, I would go and eat whatever I want, right? So the exercise is a very small percent, and you need a huge deficit to create fat loss or to make belly fat, the fat that's laying on top of your beautiful abs that nobody can see. You need to burn this off by creating the deficit. And when you create a deficit, the body is forced to think, she's supposed to give me 1,500. Today she gave me 1,200. Let me go find the negative 300 from her belly, right? So the body is forced to turn the stored fat into energy to keep you alive. So no, you will not die because you just ate in a deficit. All right, can you tell I'm pretty passionate about this topic? Because once you start understanding the data, the science, to me, understanding what to do becomes easier. So back to concluding the surplus and the deficit. A surplus equals weight gain. If I'm 1,500, I eat 1,600, I'm gaining weight. If I'm supposed to eat 1,500, by the way, becomes your maintenance weight. Eating 1,500 keeps you at maintenance, meaning you don't go up, you don't go down. If you want to lose weight, you must come in the negative. This is a hashtag science fact. It is not anything that I can change or make easier for you to be able to lose weight. Now let's talk about, now that I've given you a lot of good info, by the way, I hope that you're finding this information useful. If you're liking what I'm talking about thus far, do me a favor, smash the subscribe button. Click the little bell at the top of your screen so that when I do my weekly Thursday videos, you can get notified, and share the video if you feel as though this is something that you want to share with your friends and family. Now let's dive into the food. I have a rule of thumb when it comes to eating. The rule of thumb is pretty simple. Eat natural and whole food. You're probably wondering, okay, what does that mean, Jane? I'm going to get there in a minute. Natural and whole foods. The other thing is, you can eat the best natural and whole foods, but it needs to be eaten in the right portion. So if you eat the right thing in the wrong portion, meaning too much, guess what? Alex, the accountant, he's still counting. By the way, he never takes a vacation. He never takes a vacation. He's always counting. He doesn't care it's your birthday. He does not care, okay? So you must eat this natural whole foods in the right portion, in the right combination, and most importantly, at the right time. My easiest way of identifying food that will help me lose weight, lose belly fat, or maintain my weight is simple. Can I trace the source? And the sources are simple. There are three. Number one, did this food on my plate come from the land, Mother Earth, right? Fruits, vegetables, some carbs like potatoes, sweet potatoes, pumpkin, butternut, they come from the land. Very simple. If not the land, they might come from animals, from cows, goats, pigs, whatever, bison, from buffalo, whatever, game that you eat. That's protein. Very simple. You know the source, very quickly identifiable. Or it might come from the sea in the cases of lobsters, scallops, salmon, tilapia, sardines, mackerel. You can identify it on your plate in one step to the source. That's natural whole food. So when it comes to then what should you not be eating? And by the way, here are a few fun facts about natural whole foods. The first fun fact is that natural whole food fills you up. When you eat, you don't need to eat 3 plates of it to fill up, right? However, it's very hard to eat one cookie. It's very hard to eat one potato chip. You have to eat 2 or eat the entire bag to feel full. The satiation level of healthy food is high. But if you eat some sweet potatoes, some vegetables, and some chicken, you fill up and you stay full longer. So if I had breakfast and I had a good healthy breakfast, then I'm going to go for a few hours before I'm hungry. Meanwhile, if I had a slice of bread, I'm going to be hungry in 2 hours. And chances are I can't eat one slice. I have to eat maybe a stacked double decker of like 4, right? I remember growing up in Kenya, we used to do that, like 4 slices of bread with lots of margarine, very unhealthy, but anyway, right? So real food, real natural and wholesome food fills you up. It has a lot of nutrition. In last week's video, I talked about every cell in your body is the quality of the food you give it. Food is raw material. If you give your body low quality raw material, then your cells are not high quality, which means your skin looks crazy. Thanks to COVID, the world awoke to something known as the immune system. If you're always getting sick, if you get a cold and it takes you 2 weeks to recover, maybe your immune system is weak because of the cells that make up your immune system. I never get sick. I'll get a sore throat, I'll get a cold, and I'll shake them off in 24 hours. I cannot, 24 to 48. I cannot tell you the last time I went to the hospital sick, because I know that I'm feeding my body high quality raw material, really good fuel, and my cells are robust, they're healthy, and they protect me and they serve me, right? So healthy food has a lot of nutrition. And a good immune system is an example of a body that's well taken care of. And another thing is that good food fills you up with energy. As soon as you eat a meal, you come alive. But the thing is, most people have a meal and feel tired. There's something known as the after lunch dip, where energy runs low. If you're working, you want to take a nap, and the afternoon drags on, and people think that that's just how life is. That is known as the postprandial process. And anytime you have a meal and you feel sleepy, it means you overate. And your body is trying to put you to sleep, because the most energy intensive process, known as the digestive system or the digestive process, is trying to do its work. Meanwhile, you're also falling asleep because insulin Ian is working a double shift. He's trying to work as hard and fast as possible to shovel glucose from your bloodstream into storage. So insulin Ian and Alex, the accountant, kind of work in the same department, right? Yes, so anytime you eat, and I always tell people, if you have lunch and you're sleepy, you just ate, you might have eaten the right food, but you ate it in the wrong portion. And usually it's carbs. Okay, so that postprandial process should not slow you down. It should energize you. Healthy food energizes you. Now let's talk about the foods that will keep you forever, ever, and ever stuck where your belly is concerned. Sugar. Now, the word sugar is very confusing because someone might say, but I don't take any sugar in my tea. But sugar is not only sugar in the tea. There are people who don't take sugar in the tea, but they'll take honey, they'll take maple syrup, they'll take molasses, they'll take other things to sweeten the tea, or they'll use a replacement that's not a healthy replacement. And the ones I just mentioned are not healthy replacements. Other sources of fruits that we don't think of as fruits, as sugar, other sources of sugar that we don't think of as sugar is fruits. High glycemic fruits such as mangoes, pineapples, usually the favorite ones that taste really, your favorite ones that taste really yummy, those are equal to sugar. Even though they have fructose, natural sugar as people call it, the body still sees that as sugar. I did a really good explaining this in the video Why We Gain Weight about 3 weeks ago. I'm going to drop the link below for you to watch and get more information about fruits. So sugar is one of them. By the way, carbohydrates, starchy carbohydrates, sweet potatoes, bread, pasta, but let me first just talk about the healthy kind. Potatoes, rice, even though they come from Mother Earth, they also get converted to glucose. Glucose, as we know, is sugar, right? But they don't get converted into glucose as fast as maybe Coca-Cola or sweet drinks and anything like that. By the way, cookies and cakes, obviously I shouldn't be saying a part of sugar in this conversation. The second thing that's hard for people to give up are wheat products: bread, cookies, cake, pasta, croissants, bagels, donuts. I know cakes are my favorite item. I eat them, but I can't eat them all the time. By the way, all these items that I'm talking about right now, it's not that you'll never eat them for the rest of your life. It's just that when it comes to a flat belly, you can't eat them every single day. Remember, Alex, the accountant, is working, counting, right? Insulin Ian is waiting for you to spike your glucose so he can store fat in your fat cells, as I explained in part 1 of how to lose belly fat. So make sure you watch that again. Yes, so wheat products do not have much nutrition, even when they say they're whole or wheat, yeah, it doesn't matter. They still spike insulin. Obviously, pasta is made from wheat. A few people do find pasta that's made from peas and beans. But again, can you trace the immediate natural source? So if anything has gone to a factory, if anything has been manipulated by man, it's no longer in its natural state. There's a lot of additives. You don't want to eat that all the time. Alcohol is a big one. Alcohol is poison. Excuse me. I'm actually having a sore throat and I'm drinking some lemon water. So talking today is a little, my throat's getting irritated, if you can notice my tone changing. Yeah, so alcohol, the body sees alcohol as poison. Especially for women, I think alcohol is the one thing that will age you really quickly. And not to mention, when you take alcohol, it's not like you crave broccoli. You crave all the bad foods, right? So this doesn't work for you. And the last one is obviously any type of processed foods that includes fast food, anything that's deep fried, anything that's been manipulated. I like to say that vegetables are healthy. You can have some lettuce, some tomatoes, some cucumbers, very healthy items. And as soon as you drizzle a whole bunch of salad dressing, you just made a healthy item unhealthy. Just like chicken is healthy, but the moment you coat it or get some KFC, deep fry it, you just made good protein unhealthy. So again, being conscious of, is the food on my plate? Number one, can I tell where it came from? Number two, what's the preparation method? I always like to think of it as, go back to thinking about your great grandparents and your grandparents. What did they eat? How did they eat? What are the foods that they ate that made them get to 90 years old and not have diabetes and high cholesterol and high blood pressure? Because all the lifestyle diseases we're fighting today, they're coming from the food we're eating. They're not coming from lack of exercise. As you can see, exercise is this much, right? It's all because of the foods we're eating. Now, food can be the most powerful form of medicine. Every time you're eating, you're either feeding disease or you're feeding health. And once you master nutrition, as I've said before, you will be able to lose the belly fat without having to do exercise, but it takes you being a little bit intentional. Now, this video has ran a little longer than I like for it to do. However, how would you like to know the best diet for weight loss, for belly fat loss, and all that? If this is of interest to you, it is coming up in next week's video. It will be next Thursday when this when I can disseminate or break down the top diets and the best diet for weight loss. So stay tuned for that. And as always, do me a favor, drop in the comments below. Was this session helpful? Did you learn something new? Tell me what you've learned that you didn't know before in the comments below. Always a pleasure. I will see you next week.